Well, I got another thief which ran away just like the first one, and I also had my dog giving birth to puppies. I think she only gave birth to 2 puppies. Yes, 2 puppies. And it turns out that it was the chained dwarf dog here that was the bitch, as the dwarves are, and the dogs are called, I think. And both puppies will be next to the mother for quite some time, which means that they will be standing here right next to her near the entrance, which can be good since there will be more dogs guarding the entrance, but it can also be bad since the puppies are usually really weak, and if something attacks you, they usually will get smacked to death unless they run away. And now I'm going to show you how to build cage traps. And as you can see here, these C's here with a little blip under them are mechanisms, and these here are of course cages. They look like cages, and to make a cage trap, I mean, you have to press B, and then you have to go to traps, lures or levers, which is capital T, and then you have to go to cage trap, and now you can place it. You can place cage traps even though you have no cages, but the cage traps won't be active without having any cages in them. And I'm going to place 9 cage traps right now because I don't have that many cages. Now these cage traps are very powerful cages, traps I mean. If they can catch almost all animals except those that have trap avoid, which are usually very fantastic beasts or named beasts or forgotten beasts, or well, goblins I think can avoid some traps if they're sneaking. Kobolds always avoid traps, I think. So those thieves will just walk straight over all the traps here until they get detected. However, if they start fighting a dwarf in the cage trap area and they dodge at an attack and roll over, they will usually be caged. And this also applies for dwarves fighting in a cage trap area. Usually your dwarves just walk over the cages like nothing, but if they get trapped by cage, they they usually sooner or later get transported down to your animal stockpile. And what you then have to do is to actually build a cage, placing it on the floor and then opening it, I think, with a lever. And you build the cages on G, it seems. So you place the cage on the floor, if that were the case. Then you build a lure light next to it. And then you link the lure to the cage. And then you push the lever and the cage will open. This applies for all animals and everything that are catched in cages. If you wait for too long, however, the dwarf inside the cage will of course die of thirst or hunger, or maybe if he's injured he will die of his wounds. Usually, however, the things trapped inside your cages are things you want to keep in the cages, like attacking goblins and stuff like that. They can starve to death, in my opinion, because they are so evil and will never give you anything back at you, even though you release them. As you can see, the next season has come, which means very soon I will have more migrants, which is kind of good, I think, because I need more people for the furnaces, and I want to have a fisher dwarf, and then I will start building more, probably the water area first, or a hospital. We'll see, one of either. One thing worth mentioning is also that the first two waves of dwarves always come unless you're in an island far away from the dwarf civilization, or in some glacier somewhere, or very far away from your civilization where they can't come because the areas around your fort is so dangerous. The first two migrant waves will be between 1 and 10 dwarfs, I think. They can be children. I'm not sure if they can be babies, but they might be babies. Difference between babies and children is that children can help deconstruct constructions, I think. They can destroy walls that you have constructed and stuff like that, while babies are completely helpless, as you might realize. The waves after the first two waves, however, are dependent on many things. I think the most important factor is how much wealth the traders have seen that you have, and how much you have traded with the traders. That usually come after the second wave at some time. This is probably because they think that if you can show that you got lots of wealth, the dwarves want in. They want to live in a place with lots of wealth, and it's not so hard to imagine, I think. Now, I've built one table here and one throne here, which works the same way as a chair. And I'm going to make the dwarf that I was talking about before. What was his name again? Sassit under the Melush into a bookkeeper. And where is it? There he is. And as you can see here, when I appointed him, it's red here on the required list. And to see what's required to make him work, I have to press enter on him. And he has no office, he needs a meager office. And we get a meager office like this, a throne room or a study, and I size it up just like before. However, since I have a door here, I can't size it up larger than this, but it's usually enough. And then I have to assign it to him, and let's see, there is bookkeeper. And now you see that on the noble section here, the requirements are white, which means I fulfilled his requirements. And the next thing I want to do is to actually change the settings on him by pressing S. And that's because as I have the lowest setting, his counts won't be very accurate, but as I have the highest, his counts will be very accurate. And what do I mean with having accurate counts? Well, when you start up the game, you can see all your items here, and they will be counted. But as you go over 10, there will be more and more not secure items, not right amount of items. As you can see, when it's under 100, you see how many tens there are. When it's over 100, you see how many hundreds there are. When it's over 1,000, I think you only see how many thousands there are. And there are more items than these you want to check. In stock, you can see all of your items here. Don't go on stones, because you usually have so many stones that your game might have to think for several, perhaps minutes, to calculate all the amount of stones you have later on. However, the bars is usually something you want to look at. How many bars of everything I have. For example, how many Coke bars I have. And now when I appointed our bookkeeper, he will start counting, and he will do that all the time. See you next clip.